DeVonta Smith was drafted 10th overall by the Philadelphia Eagles in the 2021 NFL Draft. Standing at 6 foot, 170 pounds, many analysts describe DeVonta Smith as having natural hands. But what exactly does it mean to have natural hands? What constitutes one pass catcher being more natural or better than another? This is where a player problem solver lens can offer us a framework that provides insight into how to differentiate between various types of levels of skill in this particular area. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at DeVonta Smith over several exposures and begin to unpack why this player is considered to have natural hands. Again, we're going to be using a player problem solver lens, so we're beginning looking at the solution in a more holistic standpoint. We're going to be looking at the solution's compatibility to the situation on the field and the task demands that were asked of him. In addition, we're going to be looking at the execution of his movements in order to understand how he adapted to those movements moment by moment as the circumstances changed and unfolded. All right, so here we are, week 9. This is DeVonta Smith's junior year. You can see that it's LSU, Alabama. LSU is on the road. Alabama is home. It's the third quarter. It's 1st and 10. Alabama's on their own 46, which from a tactical standpoint is the region of the field where teams begin to take shots downfield. Here we are. We're in a gun left, tight left, 2-by-2 set. It's cover one man, and you can see that DeVonta Smith is right here at the top of the screen. So let's go ahead and let this play develop. Let's take a look at DeVonta Smith at the catch point or during that phase of the route, and let's see if we can begin to unpack what really makes him have natural hands. All right, no doubt a fantastic catch by DeVonta Smith, but let's go ahead and take a look at what might be going on from a problem solver standpoint in terms of the skill that DeVonta Smith is representing here on screen. If we take a look at this point in the route, you could see that there's a lot of information that DeVonta Smith needs to be sensitive to in order to make this catch, right? It's not about the technique that he's displaying. It's not about the prescribed motion or even the aesthetics of what he's doing, even though it's a fantastic looking play. It's really, I think, the skill resides in his ability to manage all the information that's here on the field. When you look at this particular play, there's interpersonal distances between him and the defender. There's collisions that are existing between him and the defender. Notice as the play progresses, notice how they're basically battling, right? You have Derek Stilling Jr. trying to literally push DeVonta Smith off his route, and DeVonta Smith has to manage those forces as he maintains his speed and balance down the field. In addition to that, there's also this distance between DeVonta Smith and the sideline that needs to be properly maintained in order for the passing window between him and his quarterback to maintain its integrity. And also, in addition to that, there's the trajectory of the football. You know, that trajectory of the football is going to change from rep to rep, from pass to pass. And if you notice as this play develops, DeVonta Smith notices that the trajectory of the football indicates that it's going to come up shorter than he perceived initially when he was running his route. So he has to stop short and he has to elevate in order to make this catch. Notice how he elevates and extends his arm and makes this catch. Once he does that, then he has to again organize his body, coordinate his body to adjust so he can stay in bounds and make the play for the first down. This is a tremendous play by DeVonta Smith. So in recap, when we kind of put it all together, what types of information must be kind of maintained or understood by DeVonta Smith as he's coordinating his movement and regulating his movement throughout this route? He's got to maintain a lot of information that's constantly changing as it goes. The interpersonal distance between him and the defender, the forces that exist between the collisions between him and the defender, in addition, the trajectory of the football and the distance between him and the sideline. All of this must be maintained, understood, and used in order to coordinate his movement solution to this particular play. It's not just about his hands per se. It's about the way in which he is able to coordinate a solution to the problem that meets the demands and the unique circumstances that change and unfold as the play continues from beginning to end. Okay, so here we are. It's week 12. It's DeVonta Smith's junior year, so it's a little bit later than the previous exposure we just viewed. This is a game at Auburn, so Alabama is on the road. This is a rather tightly contested matchup. As you can see, Alabama is driving. They're on Auburn's 37-yard line. They're in that area of the field where, again, from a tactical standpoint, offenses have an opportunity to really kind of go for it in this area. Alabama's in a pistol tight right formation in a 3-by-1 set. And if you notice, DeVonta Smith is at the top of the screen in the number one wide receiver position. Auburn sitting in a cover one formation. And something interesting to note is this is Mac Jones at quarterback and not Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa was actually lost 2 weeks prior with regards to an injury. So although this is kind of a new quarterback, they have been playing for a while with each other. So this is an opportunity to kind of take a look at an exposure where we begin to see the differentiation between the last exposure, which was extremely skillful, where DeVonta Smith adapted to many different elements within the movement problem. And now we begin to see a situation where he's going to adapt to most of them, but there are going to be areas where you can see that there's still room for development. So let's take a look at this exposure and then go back and take a look and have a quick discussion. All right, so we're going to take it from this point in the route. If you notice at this juncture in the route, DeVonta Smith has already cleared defender by at least 2 steps, and now it's basically him and the end zone to make this catch. What I want you to notice is, as in the previous exposure, we look at the interpersonal distance between him and the defender, and we notice that that distance is quite substantial. Notice the distance between him and the sideline is quite compressed, so that distance is a little bit less than it was previously. He didn't really necessarily maintain the type of window that the quarterback could throw into very well. It looks like he's a little tight up against the sideline. And if you notice here, he goes up to get the catch. And I want you to notice something. This is not because this is not a correct movement. He makes the catch. He comes down in bounds for a great play. But notice that he leaps in the air to make this catch. From a resourcefulness, from a rationality standpoint, we might want to question the economy here, right? Clearly, there was no need necessarily to jump to make this catch. If he had just kept running at full speed, he would have caught this ball in stride, and it would have given him the opportunity to make a play upfield. Now, he's still able to gain yards, but again, these little details, just like any other system, small changes can lead to kind of categorically different outcomes. So when we look at this particular play, there's a reason why he jumped. Why did he jump, right? It's a question of economy here. Again, overall, the play is successful. He makes the catch. He's able to get the first down. He still gets yardage, but he comes up short of the touchdown. To what degree, if he had not jumped, if he had been more sensitive to, let's say, the interpersonal distances between him and the defender, if he had known where that defender was in space and had a better feel for it, would he have likely made that leap, or would he have continued to run? And would the difference have meant the difference between a touchdown? So even though this is still a great play and a great catch, there's still room for development here. And I think this is where you might want to go into practice and potentially have DeVonta Smith making these catches along the sideline from various distances from the sideline to begin to see what types of informational sources begin to kind of destabilize his kind of sensitivity that he is forced to make these leaps. In other words, what information is he kind of connecting to that's forcing him into this uncomfortable situation where he feels like he's got to make a leap for a catch? This is something that can be definitely looked at in practice as he enters the NFL, and obviously this shows you another gear that he can still develop in terms of his overall skill and talent. Let's take a look at one more exposure. So here we are, senior year 2020. It's week 4. It's Georgia, Alabama. Both teams are 3-0. Alabama's got a 1st and 10 on their own 42. It's the second quarter. Georgia's up by 7. They're at approximately midfield, and you can see that Alabama's in a gun right, tight right set where you notice that they're doing an orbit motion from a 2-by-3 set to a 3-by-2 set. And by orbit motion, I mean that this particular wide receiver is going to orbit around the quarterback into the number 2 receiver position over here. And DeVonta Smith, here we go. There he is, the number 1 receiver at the top of the screen. Georgia's sitting in a cover 1. And we're going to go ahead and let this play unfold. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at how DeVonta Smith really illustrates those natural hands that he gets attributed with so often. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take it from this point in the route. If you notice right now, there's a window of opportunity for the quarterback to complete this pass. DeVonta Smith has run basically a 12-yard curl route, and he's working back towards the football. But I want to illustrate why this is considered, to me, an illustration of great hands. It's not because of the technique that he uses. It's not because of the aesthetics of what he does. It's because of the way he adapts to the moment. It's the way he adapts to the defenders that are pursuing him, the trajectories of the defenders as they attack the window in which he anticipates catching this football, the way in which he manages his distance from the sideline, but also the way in which he's mindful of the first down marker so he can get that first down. Notice how he attacks this window. The ball's coming in, and you could clearly see that this defender right here has the ability to jump in the middle of this passing play and possibly break it up. But what DeVonta Smith does, which I think shows his overall skill as a wide receiver, is he acknowledges the trajectory of the football, he acknowledges the pursuit of the defender, and he forces himself into the passing window. Notice how he uses his shoulders and his body to extend into the passing window. He doesn't extend his hands. He uses his body to get himself between the defender and the ball, and he body catches it. Now, in our world, body catching gets a rather negative connotation attributed to it. I actually have no issue with body catching. I think the technique itself isn't the issue. The issue is, at what point is the technique functional? At what point is the technique useful considering the situation that's unfolding on the field? And I think here, what you see here is, as a problem solver, this is a great use of body catching because it allows DeVonta Smith to make the catch as well as shield himself and shield the ball from the defender so the defender has no ability to make a play on this football. You can see the defender is grappling with DeVonta Smith all the way to the ground. I would argue that by extending his arms, DeVonta Smith probably doesn't make this catch. I think this is why DeVonta Smith is attributed with having natural hands. What you're really saying is he's able to find a solution that is functional given the circumstance of the situation. He's able to do all of that and make a play for his team. I truly believe this is why DeVonta Smith is considered to have natural hands.